The stranger in the corner booth. Yuki had always dreamed of visiting the United States. Born and raised in Kyoto, Japan, she was quiet, observant, and deeply curious about places far from home. At 24, she finally saved enough money to take a solo trip to America. New streets, new faces, a new life, if only for a few weeks. Her last stop was a small town in Oregon. On her second evening there, jet-lagged and hungry, Yuki walked into an old roadside restaurant called Maple Moon Diner. The bell above the door rang softly as she entered. The smell of coffee, grilled meat, and something strangely nostalgic filled the air. The diner looked frozen in time. Wooden booths, yellow lights, old country music playing low in the background. That's when she saw him. He was sitting alone in the corner booth by the window. Tall, broad shoulders, dark hair slightly messy, like he had run his fingers through it too many times. His jawline was sharp, his eyes deep and calm, but sad, very sad. Yuki felt her breath pause. He's beautiful, she thought. The man stared at the empty seat across from him, as if waiting for someone who never arrived. Yuki quickly looked away, embarrassed. She took a seat near the counter. As the waitress poured her coffee, Yuki couldn't stop glancing back at the stranger. Something about him felt familiar, comforting, and unsettling at the same time. Minutes later, she noticed something strange. No food was placed in front of him, no drink either. Yet he sat there, every night according to the waitress, quiet, polite, and alone. When the waitress walked past his booth, she didn't even look at him. Yuki frowned. "Excuse me," Yuki said softly, her accent gentle. "That man, does he come here often?" The waitress followed her gaze. "What man, honey?" she asked. Yuki pointed. "The one sitting there." The waitress looked confused. "There's no one there." Yuki laughed nervously. "No, he's right there." The waitress's smile slowly faded. She leaned closer and whispered, "Sweetheart, that booth's been empty all night." A chill ran down Yuki's spine. She turned again. The man was still there. This time, he looked directly at her and smiled. Later that night, as Yuki prepared to leave, the man stood up. For the first time, he walked toward her. His footsteps made no sound on the wooden floor. "Are you visiting from Japan?" he asked in perfect English, his voice calm and warm. Yuki swallowed. "Yes. How did you know?" He smiled again. "You look like someone who doesn't belong here. I mean that in a good way." They talked outside the diner under the dim parking lot lights. His name was Ethan. He said he lived nearby. He said he loved this restaurant. "I come here looking for someone," he admitted quietly. "Your girlfriend?" Yuki asked. His expression darkened. "She used to sit across from me," he said quietly, "right where you were pointing earlier." Yuki felt the cold again. As she walked back to her hotel, she didn't notice that Ethan never cast a shadow under the streetlights, and she didn't know yet that Maple Moon Diner was the place where Ethan died, searching for a girl who never made it out alive. Yuki didn't sleep that night. No matter how hard she tried, her mind kept returning to Ethan's face. His smile wasn't frightening, it was gentle, almost lonely. Yet something about him made her chest feel heavy, like a warning she couldn't understand. The next morning, she told herself it was just cultural shock. America felt different. People felt different. Still, that evening, her feet carried her back to Maple Moon Diner. The bell rang again. Everything looked the same. Same yellow lights, same wooden booths. And in the same corner booth, Ethan was sitting there, waiting. Her heart skipped. A strange warmth spread through her fear. "You came back," he said softly, standing up. Yuki nodded. "I wanted to eat dinner. That's why I come too. Dinner and memories." They sat together this time. Yuki noticed how cold the seat felt beneath her. She shivered, though the diner was warm. "You don't eat?" she asked carefully. "I don't get hungry anymore," Ethan said with a faint smile. She laughed, thinking it was a joke, but something in his eyes told her it wasn't. They talked for hours. Ethan spoke about the town, the nearby forest, the old highway. But whenever Yuki asked about his job, his home, or his past, he gently changed the subject. Then, something strange happened. A waitress walked straight through their table. Not around it, through it. Yuki gasped. Her hands trembled. The waitress didn't react. She didn't see Ethan. She didn't see Yuki's panic. "Did you see that?" Yuki whispered. Ethan looked down. "Some people don't see me anymore. Not since the accident." "Accident?" Yuki repeated. His jaw tightened. "That night," he said slowly, "it was raining hard. My girlfriend's Lily was working late. She stood right here, by the counter." His voice shook. There was a fight in the kitchen. Someone slipped. A shelf fell. Fire. Screams. Yuki felt tears rise without knowing why. "I ran to her," Ethan continued. "I didn't care about anything else." He looked at Yuki then, his eyes filled with pain. "I never made it out." The lights in the diner flickered. Yuki's heart pounded. "Ethan, are you saying—" "I died here," he said quietly, "and she did too." Silence swallowed the booth. "Your ghost," Yuki whispered. "Yes." Yuki stood up suddenly, dizzy. Fear finally took control. "I should go. This is too much." Ethan didn't stop her. Outside, cold air burned her lungs. She walked fast, not daring to look back. That night, she searched the diner's name online. Maple Moon Diner. Tragic accident. 5 years ago. 2 employees dead. One photo froze her blood. A young woman behind the counter, and beside her, Ethan, smiling, dead. As Yuki closed her laptop, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "I'm sorry I scared you. I just didn't want to be alone anymore." Her room temperature dropped. The mirror fogged on its own. And behind her reflection, Ethan was standing. When love crosses the line between life and death, Yuki couldn't scream. She stood frozen in her hotel room, staring at the mirror. Her own reflection looked pale, terrified. And behind her, Ethan. Not solid, not fully transparent either, like a memory trying to stay alive. "I didn't mean to follow you," he said softly. "I just didn't want you to disappear." Yuki slowly turned around. Her heart felt like it would tear itself apart. "You're not supposed to be here," she whispered. "You're dead." "I know," Ethan replied. "But when you saw me, you really saw me. That hasn't happened in years." Yuki backed away until her legs hit the bed. "Please leave," she said, tears forming. "I'm scared." Ethan's face twisted in pain. "I would never hurt you," he said. "I loved someone once. I still do." The room grew colder. The lights flickered. "I'm stuck," Ethan continued, "between moments, between memories. Every night I return to that diner, hoping Lily will be there, hoping I can save her again." Yuki swallowed hard. "Why me?" "Because you listen, because your heart is open." The words felt dangerous. The next few days passed like a dream, or a nightmare. No matter where Yuki went, she felt Ethan's presence. Reflections lingered too long. Cold spots followed her. At night, she dreamed of fire, screaming voices, and a girl bleeding behind a diner counter. Lily. One evening, Yuki returned to Maple Moon Diner, unable to fight the pull anymore. "Ethan," she said quietly, sitting in the booth, "you have to let her go." Ethan's eyes darkened. "If I let go, I disappear." Yuki's heart broke. "You're already gone," she replied gently. Suddenly, the air shifted. A cold, heavy pressure filled the diner. Another figure appeared across the booth. A young woman, pale skin, burn marks on her arms, empty eyes. "Lily." "You promised you'd wait," Lily whispered, her voice layered and hollow. Ethan stood up, shaking. "I tried. I swear I tried." Lily turned her gaze to Yuki. "She sees you," Lily hissed. "She feels you." The lights exploded, plates shattered, wind howled through closed windows. "Leave her alone," Yuki screamed. Lily smiled, wrong and wide. "She doesn't belong to you," Lily said to Ethan. "She belongs to us." Yuki felt hands grip her wrists, cold, invisible hands. Her vision blurred. Ethan stepped between them. "No," he said firmly. "I won't let her trap you like we're trapped." Lily's scream shook the building. The diner went silent. When Yuki opened her eyes, she was lying on the floor. The diner was empty, normal. Ethan knelt beside her. "If you stay near me, you'll end up like us." Tears streamed down Yuki's face. "Then let me help you." Ethan looked at her for a long time. "There is a way," he said slowly, "but it's dangerous." "What is it?" Yuki asked. Ethan's voice dropped to a whisper. "To free us." Returning to the night of fire. Yuki didn't know how long she sat there on the diner floor. The smell of burnt wood filled her nose, though the place looked perfectly normal again. Chairs were upright, plates were unbroken. Customers chatted like nothing had ever happened. But Ethan was fading. His outline flickered, like a dying flame. "You don't have much time," he said. "Neither do I." Yuki stood up, her legs shaking. "Tell me what to do." Ethan led her outside, behind the diner, to a narrow alley blocked off with rusted chains. The air felt thick, heavy with memory. "This is where it happened," he said. "The fire started in the kitchen. Lily slipped. The shelf fell. Everything burned." Yuki closed her eyes. Suddenly, the world shifted. The sky turned black. Rain poured down violently. Sirens screamed in the distance. The diner lights flickered wildly. They were no longer in the present. They were 5 years in the past. People ran in panic. Smoke poured from the kitchen doors. Yuki could hear screaming, real screaming. "I can feel it," Yuki whispered. "It's happening again." Ethan's voice trembled. "This is the night my soul broke." Inside the diner, chaos exploded. Lily stood behind the counter, bleeding from her head, fire spreading around her. She locked eyes with Ethan. "Run!" Lily screamed. But Ethan ran toward her, just like before. Yuki watched in horror as history repeated itself. Flames blocked the exit. The ceiling groaned. "No!" Yuki shouted. "This time has to be different." She grabbed Ethan's arm. For the first time, he felt solid. Yuki dragged him back. The moment changed. The fire froze. Everything stopped, like a paused video. Lily turned slowly, her eyes no longer human. "You're not supposed to be here," Lily said to Yuki. Her voice echoed unnaturally. "You changed the path. If he leaves, I stay alone." "I'm sorry," Yuki said, tears streaming. But this isn't love. This is pain. Lily's face cracked, half burns, half furious. If he leaves, you will take his place. The fire roared back to life. The walls melted, the ceiling collapsed. Yuki felt the heat burning her skin. Ethan pulled her close. "Let go of me," he begged. "If you don't, you'll die here." Yuki shook her head. "I didn't cross an ocean to die in your memory. I came to live." She pushed Ethan toward the exit. A blinding light exploded. Yuki screamed as fire surrounded her. Then, silence. Rain. Darkness. Yuki collapsed on the wet pavement outside the diner. Firefighters rushed past her. Stretchers rolled out. One body covered with a white sheet. Then another. Yuki looked up. Ethan stood across the street. Whole. Calm. Alive. For the first time, he was smiling. Not sad. Not broken. "You freed me," he said. "But Lily," Yuki whispered. Ethan's smile faded. Some souls choose to stay in the fire. The sirens faded. The diner burned to ashes, and Yuki fainted, not knowing whether she had changed the past or traded something far more dangerous. Yuki woke up in a hospital room. White walls, beeping machines, the smell of antiseptic. For a moment, she thought everything had been a dream. Then she noticed her hands. They were shaking. A nurse smiled gently. "You were found unconscious near the Maple Moon Diner fire site. You're very lucky." "Did anyone else survive?" Yuki asked, her voice dry. The nurse hesitated. "No one except you." Yuki's heart tightened. That night, she stood by the hospital window watching the rain fall. "You did it," a familiar voice said behind her. Yuki turned. Ethan stood there, not flickering, not transparent, alive. "You're real," Yuki whispered. "I am," he said softly, "because of you." Relief flooded her chest. She cried, happy tears this time. Days passed. Yuki recovered quickly. Ethan visited every day. He laughed more. He talked about the future, about leaving town, about traveling, about being together. "You should go back to Japan," Ethan said one evening. "Live your life." Yuki shook her head. "I didn't come this far to run away." That night, they walked past the ruins of Maple Moon Diner. Only ashes remained. But Yuki felt it again. That cold. That pressure. "You feel it too, don't you?" Ethan asked. "Feel what?" Yuki replied. Ethan stopped walking. Slowly, he turned toward her. "You don't remember." "Remember what?" "The moment you pushed me out." Yuki frowned. "I saved you." Ethan smiled, but something was wrong with it. "You pushed me into the light," he said, "and someone had to stay behind." The streetlights flickered. Yuki's breath caught. "No," she whispered. "I came back." Ethan stepped closer. "Did you?" he asked. Suddenly, Yuki remembered. The fire, the heat, Lily screaming, and the moment she had felt peace. Yuki looked down at her hands again. They were translucent. "I died," Yuki whispered. Ethan nodded slowly. "You freed me, but the balance had to be kept." Yuki stumbled back. "So, I'm the ghost now?" Ethan's eyes filled with guilt. "I didn't know, I swear." A voice echoed from behind the ruins. Soft, familiar. "You understand now." Lily stepped out of the shadows, calm, smiling. "Welcome, Yuki, to waiting." Ethan stepped away, tears falling. "I loved you," he whispered. Yuki smiled sadly. "I know." The world began to fade. Morning came. A tourist walked past the empty street.
For a brief second, she saw a Japanese girl standing near the ruins, smiling softly. Then, nothing. That night, inside a newly rebuilt restaurant, a young American man sat alone in a corner booth, waiting. Across the street, a Japanese girl watched him, invisible, unseen, but smiling, because love, once bound by death, never really leaves.